Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Friday morning warm-up number 103. And we're going to get started with our usual little clapping routine. Then it will be followed by warming up the instrument and the chromatic scale. Before we move on to looking at the minor scales, we did look at them a few weeks ago, and now we're going to be changing the key and looking at some more. So that will be a little later on. So we'll start with just a little bit of gentle clapping, and we'll do the same one we did last week, which is the 3-2 son clave. So it's a very common rhythm in music, and the only reason they call it 3-2 is because there are 3 beats or 3 claps in the first bar and 2 in the second bar. It's just to identify it from other permutations. And I've put there the your left right if you want to stomp your feet at the same time. So I'll get the metronome going and then just join in when you're ready. Here we go, just for a minute. Find my egg timer. There we go. After 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. There we go, 3-2 clave, and as I say, you'll find it in all sorts of music, but traditionally it comes from the Cuban style of rhythmic playing, but and it's their kind of pulse that they have in, a bit like we have a pulse 1, 2, 3, 4. They have the pulse, this clave, underlying a lot of their music. Good, let's move on, and if you'd like to get hold of your instruments, we will just get them warmed up. I haven't got my guitar on, just realised. The sort of fundamental scale today is A minor, concert A minor. So I'm just going to play the note A for a minute, and you can do what you need to do in order to get your instrument. I wouldn't necessarily tune to my guitar. I think it's in tune, but here we go. Or you can sing to it, sing the notes, sing some harmonies. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was a minute of the note A. Okay. And next, as I'm sure you are well aware, will be the chromatic scale. So we'll play A chromatic, not a chromatic, the note A chromatic up to the octave A and all the way back down again in the fashion that we have been doing recently. Nice and slowly to start with. So just aim for clear tones, consistent sound. If If you want to decide beforehand how you're going to play your chromatic scale, that's a good way to do it. But then do stick to it. Don't let your fingers or your tongue make you do it a different way halfway up. So if you're going to do it quietly, legato, etc., with a little bit of vibrato, do that all the way up and down again. So aim for consistency. Here we go. After 4, the A chromatic scale. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. One thing you can do if you want to just to vary it is to start quietly and reach a peak at the top and then come back down and finish quietly. So sort of a crescendo and a diminuendo on the way down. Just to vary it. Here we go again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And for a bit more variety, you could also do it in a different octave. Right, let's just speed it up a little bit. Just a little bit. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. One other little idea I just had. If I'm playing concert A and you play concert C sharp, you're playing a major third above. If you do the C sharp chromatic scale, it sounds quite harmonious. Sounds quite nice. So maybe try that. And then you can listen to a whole scale of major thirds. A little bit faster. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just do one more quick one. I've just had an idea. One quick one, and then I'll just go back to this other idea I've just had. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, what is that idea, you may be thinking? What I'm going to do, you play just the regular chromatic scale you've just been doing, so starting on concert A, B or F sharp for the other instruments. I'm going to play a major third down. So you are now going to be playing the harmony to me. So you're playing a major third above me. So just play what you've been doing. Go back to a slow speed, just so you can listen to it. Now it should work. If you're going to hear me, you're going to hear me a major third below. So it means you're playing a major third harmony. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Except, did I play the right note? I did. Yes. Just going to do that one more time, and I'll play an octave lower. That might help. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just trying that out. Okay, Let's move on now to the exercise sheet, if you'd like to put that in front of you. And now I've got the concert version on the screen, of course, as always. And today we are focusing on the minor scales, and there are, of course, three main minor scales: the natural minor, the harmonic minor or minor harmonic, and the melodic minor. So if you're doing your scales for if you were doing grades, for example, they're the three that you would have at some point to cover. But we're just going to go through playing some scales just as part of our warm-up today, and also at the same time seeing how one scale evolved out of another. It didn't evolve in the same way that evolution took place, and from then on everything was different. It's just a way of thinking about how the scales compare to each other, and how you can think of a particular scale, then know how to modify it in order to get the other scale you might be thinking of. So what do you do to a harmonic minor scale to make it into a melodic minor scale, for example, if you know one and not the other. Okay, we'll start with, what we're going to start with actually is the relative major scale that the minor scale comes from. So if we're talking about the A minor scale, it actually comes from the C major scale. So if you're on B minor for your tenor instruments, that will come from the D major scale. And if you're on F sharp minor, sorry, my head's going to explode with all these transpositions. If you're on F sharp minor, your relative major is A. That's right. Right, good. Anyway, you've got that in front of you, haven't you? The relative major scale. So we'll start just by playing the relative major scale. The first two bars on the screen in front of you. So nice and straightforward. The relative major, here we go. So we're doing C major, concert C major. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that again, nice and easy. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've got, that's concert C major. If, oh no, we haven't done the descending. Let's just do the descending scale first of all before I go on to the minor. So starting with the bar 3, bars 3 and 4. This is the same scale descending. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that scale is our reference point. So C major, concert C major, D or F sharp, concert C major. If you were to play that scale starting on the 6th degree, the 6th note, so that's C, D, E, F, G, A, you get the relative minor. And the relative minor, or the natural minor as it's sometimes called, so you're going to play the same notes starting on A. So that's known as the natural minor. Some people call it the Aeolian mode, which is kind of true, but it's we're not talking about modes in this particular case. We're just talking about the major minor scales. So we're going to start on A but play the same notes, and that's the second line on the sheet. So let's just play the first two bars, the minor scale, the relative minor, the natural minor, after 4. Second line, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go into the descending, so next 2 bars of the second line. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you have it. Those of you that have done grades and so on, or are working towards that sort of thing, you'll probably find that you're practicing these scales going up and down, but not repeating the top note. So you carry on doing that. I'm not suggesting you shouldn't do that. It's just the way I've broken up these scales into ascending and descending. Yeah, so normally you would read across, but just leave out this repeated top note. Okay, so that's the natural minor scale. It's got a certain sound. If you were to harmonize it, and what we mean by harmonizing a scale is by going to each root note each note in turn and writing down the root, the third and the fifth, and looking at it and saying what chord that is. You'll find, because that's all the same notes as C major, if you harmonize the natural minor, you'll get all the same chords as you get in C major. Now, one of the most important chords in a key is the fifth. And in A minor, because it will be the same as in C major, the fifth will be an E, but it will be a minor chord, because in the scale there's a G. And please translate that for your own scales. So if it's E minor for us on guitars and so on, it will be B minor for tenor instruments, and it'll be C sharp minor for the altos. However, that's not got a very good resolution back to the tonic. So C minor, if I go from E minor to A minor, not very exciting. What would be better would be a major chord there on the 5 on the 5th degree. So that means we've got to change that a note, the third of that. You keeping up? We've got to change the third of the dominant chord to raise it a semitone. And that means, I'm just leaving out a little bit of maths, that means that the 7th degree of the scale will need to be sharpened, so that when the harmonizing takes place, you get this major chord. Which is why the harmonic minor, because we're talking about harmony, has got a raised 7th, because that will create an E major rather than an E minor when you harmonize it. So, don't have to remember all that, but that's one of the reasons why we've now got a leading note in the harmonic minor scale. So let's just move on to the harmonic minor scale and play that. So on to the 3rd line now, and you've got a raised 7th to get that major sound when you harmonize it. Okay, here we go. So we're going to just play the first 2 bars of the 3rd line. That's the harmonic minor. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you hear the raised 7th there, the penultimate note. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 2, 3, 4. Let's do the descending. So same notes backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. 1, 2, 3, time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the harmonic minor scale, and the only difference between that and the natural minor is it's got that raised seventh in the both the ascending and descending versions of the scale. And that raised seventh, when you come to harmonize, create chords from the scale, generates a major dominant seventh rather than a minor. But, and this is all kind of paraphrased, it's not exactly how it happened, but when you played that scale, you might have noticed that the interval between the sixth and the seventh is now a relatively big jump for a scale. It's a minor third rather than the usual semitonal tone from the sixth to the seventh, which makes it hard to sing and hard to play on some instruments as well. So how about raising that sixth to close the gap to, so we've got a sharpened sixth. What do we have? We have the melodic minor scale. So to make the gap smaller between the sixth and the seventh, they've raised the sixth a semitone. And the gap between the fifth and the sixth is still only a tone, so that's okay. So we have the melodic minor scale. So we're just going to play the first two bars of the next line, the melodic minor, and you'll notice that both the sixth and the seventh are raised in comparison to the natural minor. Here we go. Melodic minor scale, first two bars. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. More melodic. 2, 3, 4. One more time. 2, 3, 4. Yes, now there's a little bit of a thing coming up here, because when it comes to descending the melodic minor scale, in classical theory and in any lessons you'll have leading towards grades and so on, you'll be asked to play it descending not via the melodic minor notes, the sharp 6 and 7, but via the natural minor. So we're going to do that. We're going to descend using the natural minor, so no raised sixth or seventh. If you are playing this in a jazz or a rock setting, the melodic minor scale, and people do, you will not do that. You will actually just use the same scale whether you're going up or down. You will play the melodic minor as shown, and sometimes they call it the jazz minor just to differentiate. But in classical music and in classical theory, you will come down the melodic minor following the natural minor. So that's what we're going to do today.
Why?
Why? Good question. Theories have been postulated, if that's the correct phrase. And one of the most plausible is that when you descend the melodic minor from the octave, it sounds like you're coming down a major scale, not a minor scale. So it puts a different mood into the listener and into the melody. So if you play the melodic minor coming down as not as with a raised seventh and raised sixth, you're actually playing the same notes as A major, not A minor, for the first 5 notes. In fact, quite a long way down. It's only till you get to the minor third near the end in the descending line that you actually realise you're in a minor scale. It's just one of the ways the notes have fallen into place. So that's my only.
Sounds like a major scale going up as well.
It does a little bit. Well, the last bit is, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, would it also be coming out of the church where, you know, the musical notation happened, and that really they were always trying to correct the devil's note, the blue note?
The devil's note is the flattened fifth, isn't it?
But the sound is minory and according to the church, was the
Yeah.
thing that led you into sin. So this leads you back to heaven again, apparently. And
Oh, right, okay. I've not heard that one, but yeah, that's...
well, it's complete cack. You know, I think Jazz was right. You know, just play what sounds nice.
Yeah,
but there you
well,
go.
at the end of the day, play what sounds nice. And I expect there are melodies in the classical world where they do actually descend in melodic minor. They're bound to be.
I think you'll find at the end of the day it's blue and green, but never mind.
Yes, the whole thing about theory is not the rules of music. It's just trying to explain why music sounds the way it does and why it makes us feel the way it does. So theory is to be... You can come up with your own theories, and that's absolutely fine. Not you personally, I just mean anyone can. And there's no right or wrong, it's just somebody's theory. So we are going to, anyway, for the sake of today, we're going to descend the melodic minor but play the natural minor, if that makes sense. So, as you would do if you were about to take your grade 5. Here we go. So we're doing the third and fourth bars. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, you've done this one before, so just do it one more time. 2, 3, 4. Tell you what, let's just play the whole line. And could you please, because we're going to do this like as if you were doing a grade, could you not repeat the top note? So skip to the second in the bar. Yeah, does that make, you know what I mean? So you're going to play up the ascending, then leap to the second note of the third bar and come down. So you're just going to go up and straight down. A bit like we did the chromatic scale. Don't repeat the top note. And you'll hear the melodic going up and the natural minor coming down. And it does actually sound quite natural in the other sense. Here we go. So up and down without repeating the top note. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, nearly caught me out there. Let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Theories on a postcard, please. Thank you.
Which one of these is klezmer based on, Dave?
Klezmer is probably the harmonic minor. Most likely, although minors are interchangeable in a lot of music because they're easygoing scales, don't tend to clash when you use odd notes. But in the klezmer, I imagine the harmonic minor would be the one to concentrate on. In fact, if you take a tune like Have Nagila, which is a very common klezmer tune, the melody is basically the harmonic minor, the harmonic minor scale, but starting on the 5th degree. So if you take the 5th degree of the scale, if you're an A, it'll be E, and play, you get this very specific, very, not sure if I can play it. In fact, yes, so that's the harmonic minor scale, but starting on the 5th degree, and I think quite a bit of their music is based around that scale. So, okay, minor scales are fascinating things because there's so many more varieties of them compared to major, and they do have a lot more of this sort of mood and atmosphere to them. Just what, if you're trying to memorize all these scales, one thing to remember is that the lower tetrachord, and by tetrachord I mean the first 4 notes, it's a short word for the first 4 notes, the lower tetrachord is the same in all of them. It's the upper tetrachord, the second bar on our sheet here, which is where the variations take place, and it's actually only the notes, the 6th and the 7th, which change. The 5th and the octave, of course, are the same. So if you're looking to think, what's the difference between that and that? just concentrate on the 6th note and the 7th note in the upper tetrachord. And by the way, tetrachords are not chords, they're just the first 4 or the second 4 notes in a scale. So the 6th or the 7th notes are the ones which are sharpened or not. And because there's only 2, that means you can only get 4 permutations. And that leads on nicely to the next scale. So when you don't raise them, you've got the relative minor, when they're just as is. When you raise the 7th, you've got the harmonic minor. When you raise the 6th and 7th, you've got the melodic minor. But when you raise a 6th but flatten the 7th, go back to the natural 7th, you've got a scale called the Dorian. Now the Dorian isn't really a minor scale, it's a mode, but I thought I'd just include it for completeness so that you know all the common minor scales. There are other minor scales which have different opening notes and so on. Of course, the one thing they've all got in common is a minor third. That's the most important thing. But the Dorian scale, it's not really, some people don't even call it a scale, it's a mode. But we'll just play it for the sake of completeness. And so we're just onto the Dorian scale, second line from the bottom. Let's just play all the way across. And you can repeat the top note. So just do this once because it's just for filling in the gap. Here we go, Dorian scale, all the way across. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's not really part of the theory of the harmonic and melodic minors. It's actually the second degree of the major scale. So if you started C major on the D, second degree, and went up to another D, you've played D Dorian. Anyway, you can explore that separately if you want to. One day we might do some modes on these Friday morning sessions, and we'll see that reappear. As I say, the upper tetrachord, the second 4 notes in the scale, are the ones which give the flavour of the scale, the minor scale. So I've just put 4 phrases here on the bottom line now, which will just go through showing the differences. So each one has got the 6th or 7th relative to the particular scale it's taken from. So the first one is just the natural minor. So it's just a phrase based on the natural minor scale. I'm going to slow it down a little bit, partly because I can't play it properly. Here we go. So the first bar, just the first bar once. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. Oops, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's move on to the harmonic minor phrase now, second one. You'll notice it's got the raised 7th. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's your klezmer sound. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, on to the melodic minor now. So when it's ascending, we'll be sharpening the 6th and 7th. When it's descending, we won't. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Does sound quite melodic. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then finally onto the Dorian phrase, so just a raised 6th, not a raised 7th, after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there we go. And a little look at the minor scales there. We'll come back to this in a few weeks' time in a different key, and we can go through all the same theories again. We might have got another theory then about the melodic minor. So, good. Righty-ho, let's just finish off the session. We're running a bit late today, so if anyone does need to dash off, please do. Don't feel you have to stick around. But I'm just going to finish off with the strumming the chords. I've just put a typical minor chord sequence, sometimes known as the Spanish chord progression. This one, the Spanish progression, because it appears in a lot of traditional Spanish music, which certainly use the minor scales extensively. And if you want to do just play the arpeggios, that's great. If you want to improvise over it, you can use any of those scales. The minor scales are very forgiving, but there is a major chord at the end, and that does mean it's best to play the leading note, the sharpened third. So here we go. Just do what you like over these chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 bars on each chord. G. Probably the harmonic minor is the main one. Let's do that one more time. 3, 4. Finish on the first one. Oh, I suddenly thought I was in Spain for a minute then. Okie dokie, that's it for today, and thank you everybody for coming along and making it worthwhile. And
thank you very much.
We'll be back next week
Very
with
interesting.
something different.
Oh, it's an interesting session, David. Thank you.
Explanations
Yeah.
there as to what
Thanks,
various
Dave.
Yeah,
Thank you
okay,
very
thanks.
much.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone comes up with any ideas or does some reading in the background about the harmonic minor scale and the melodic and why they are the way they are, do send us a note, and I can always mention it next time. It is, after all, only a theory, so okay.
Thanks very much. Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
David.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone. Bye, Chris.
Bye.
Bye, Dave.
Bye.
Bye.